Cool. Well, while we're waiting, I'm gonna I've been trying to learn how to play Damodarastakam, and so if you don't mind, I'll play the first verse, and you're welcome to sing along. Sound okay? Right. Thank you, devotees. It's so fun to offer this playing and singing in while there's a dog next to you doing circles, while there's all of the things that make you smile, because golly, we need things that make us smile. And on that note, I'm so pleased and grateful to have Satya Devidasi here today, joining our gathering. I met Satya a couple of months ago. We've been in contact over the airwaves, as it were. We met officially in person in September, but had been in a few Zoom classes together. And she is just such a bright light in my life, and I'm so grateful to be associated with you. Satya is a long-term student of Sanskrit. She, of course, she found the devotees when she was 17, and she'll tell the story, but basically has evaded the law to practice Krishna Bhakti, and has lived all over from Fresno's northern Bay Area, Los Angeles, Texas, Boston, Harvard area. No, New Haven, where? Somewhere fancy. Rutgers.
Princeton.
Okay, Princeton. and and has a really welcoming way of practicing Krishna Bhakti. So I will turn it over to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and let me know how I can help facilitate.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you for that sweet introduction. I'll just say a little bit. So I as a teenager in high school. It was the 60s. And there's just so much stuff going on in the 60s. I just can't even begin to tell you. But I became a vegetarian and read the Ramayana and found Nectar of Devotion in the bookstore and just absolutely loved that book and read it straight through. Just what an amazing book. And and then graduated at 17 and went to visit my grandmother in Virginia. And she, when I'm cooking a meal, right, she kept throwing bacon in what I was making. I'm like, Grandma, no, don't. And I throw it away and start all over again. And there was an ad on the radio for a free vegetarian feast at the Washington, D.C. temple. And so I was like, I'm going. It's like, I'm starving to death. And it was it. That was it. It was the best. I couldn't believe how wonderful it was. I wanted to stay and never leave. And of course, my grandmother thought it was horrible, and my father threatened to have me put in jail. And it's like, this is crazy. You have to go to college. So I went to school at Fresno State. It wasn't a university at the time, Fresno State. Majored in agriculture and was reading Bhagavad Gita, that, not Prabhupada's, but reading Bhagavad Gita. And I was walking across the plaza one day and I heard this tink, 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 tink. It's like, what is this? Are there devotees here? Oh my God. And there were devotees in Fresno, California. Fresno, California is a farming area. There's nothing happening in Fresno, really, nothing. And but devotees were there, and they had started a temple in Fresno, and they invited me to come to Bhagavad Gita class because I was reading it. I'm like, yeah, sure, that'd be great. So I rode my little bicycle over to the temple every night, and then it got dark and it was too dark to ride home. I didn't have a light for my bike, so I spent the night and stayed for Bhagavatam and then went to school, and spending much more time there at the temple than I was at school. And so when I turned 18, I dropped out and joined the temple. And it was great. 4 brahmacharis and me in this little 2-bedroom house. And I eventually moved to Los Angeles and then went to the Dallas Gurukula and then back to LA and left. But it was quite a trip. But I'm dedicated. This is it. I mean, I was already doing it before I met the devotees. I'm doing it after that. So this is my life. Here are my deities here at home. Oops, sorry. So you don't have to have that structure of a temple. You don't feel bad if you don't go to the temple. Just do all those things that Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Devotion: chant, hear, read, associate with the devotees that you like, and ignore the rest. And just be happy. Just be happy in that whole process. So, anything else? Anybody want to ask any questions about that life change, that life story? Questions? Seriously, I'm open to anything you want to ask me. I'm completely open and casual.
Did you finish college?
I did not finish college. In fact, I got married, had a kid, and worked doing computer stuff for years, and got divorced and decided I would go to college. So I went to community college, and then I went to UC Berkeley and graduated there with a degree in religious studies. So I took Sanskrit there, and then I went on to take Bengali and at University of Washington in Seattle. I didn't do so well in that. But yeah, I did eventually finish college, but many years later. And it was better, actually. I was much more serious about school and wasn't trying to evade my dad like going to school. And I took the classes that I wanted to take, and he thought it was ridiculous that I was majoring in religious studies. He's like, what are you going to do with that? It's like, well, probably the same thing I'm doing now, working in an office and, doing whatever. But for me, this is what I really want to do. This is what's enlivening to me, interesting to me. Anthropology, religion, language, those are the things that are interesting to me. And it was great. It's a great mental challenge. I was so happy to be around smart people. Oh my God. It was wonderful.
Well, and that was going to be my question is how did you come to have the understanding and grasp of Sanskrit that you have? Was it through formal training, formal, classes, through education, just self-study, and what sparked your interest? And kind of, I mean, obviously, being in the spiritual movement, we hear Sanskrit all the time, but it takes a different kind of, to have that. I would call, word nerds, right? The interest in language, and where did that come
Where did that come from? I have no idea where that came from. Um, we as teenagers, so in my family, there are 7 of us. So at the dinner table, we were always arguing about words, always. And I have one brother who is just an absolute nut on puns. And so oh my God, he can go on for hours making word puns. So words, and then we get up and look up words in the dictionary during dinner. And um, words are so amazing. And then to find out, living in the temple, to find out that Sanskrit is so variegated. I don't know how else to say it, but one sentence, you'll translate a sentence and it'll mean one thing, but it could also mean something else. And Radha and Krishna send messages to each other in this kind of like that, uh, isn't it such a beautiful day? And it'll actually mean meet me at the forest at, midnight. You know, it's
Yeah, they have a whole like meta language between
yeah,
them.
yeah, it can mean something different completely. And to find out that they could do that is so amazing. And there's so many different kinds of poetry in Sanskrit. I ran into a guy on Facebook, and he posted something, and it was a circle, and it had a line through the middle and it crossed the middle that way. And he had written a poem to Radha and Krishna that went, you could read it any which way. You could read it half, a quarter of the way, and a quarter of the way, quarter of the way. You could read it in all these different directions. And I'm like, what is this? I have never seen anything like this. And he goes, oh, it's this certain special kind of Sanskrit poetry. He says, I do one every Ekadasi or something. He does it pretty regularly.
That's so cool.
I
Do you have
know.
that is so cool. I
I
love
know.
it.
And it's like, wow, there's a language that you can do that with. And
Yeah, yeah.
Sanskrit's the language you can do that with. And so I'm continually amazed at Sanskrit. And Leslie and I both are taking this class from um, um, Edwin Bryant, or he's a friend of mine from Princeton. His name is Adwaita. And he personally, he's an absolute riot. I don't know if you get that in the classes, Leslie, but he's an absolute nutcase and
I've
so much
seen some of
fun.
the videos, a couple that Leslie has sent, and they're
I've
very
shared some things here
yeah.
and there, especially when he is encouraging the class, like, you know, when he's like, uh, the bloody telly won't help you at the time of death. Like he's very funny about,
Hmm.
Very
Yeah.
funny.
this as an austerity, but that if there's anything you're gonna do to occupy your mind, you might as well do something that's gonna help you at the hour of death.
Yeah. Yeah. He lived down the street from me when I lived in Princeton. So I was over there all the time. And he's just a nut. He's really a nut. So taking the class, it is definitely an austerity, because I've taken this class before and I did not do well when I took it before. But now I've got, all my note cards, and they're color coded, pink for feminine and blue for masculine and yellow for neuter. And it's like doing my cards and, trying to memorize the paradigms. And my study buddy in the class, she puts herself to sleep reciting the paradigms. I'm like, you are crazy. She goes, no, I've been doing it for years. She's fluent in Latin and Greek, and that's what she does, is she just recites paradigms to go to sleep. I'm not that dedicated, but at least I have them down so that I can lay them out when I'm working and refer to them quickly. Does that answer your question, Dana?
Yeah, yes, it does. It does. Thank you.
Mhm.
So Jivan Krishnadas and I are reading the teachings of Lord Chaitanya right now. And in the intro, it says, or golly, is it in the intro to the Srimad Bhagavatam? I'm doing too many things from the beginning right now, but I think it's in the Srimad Bhagavatam actually. The intro says toward the end that it talks about how these teachings, no matter what direction you take them, are relishable like sugar candy. And what that really inspired me about that phrase is that whoever we are, whatever our proclivities, whatever our interests are, it's all relishable. So whatever direction we're coming from, and Satya has this, very committed linguistics practice, but also, has this really sweet devotional, service to her deities, and that we're all of us each have our own little ways of the inroads, and they're all relishable. There isn't a bad way, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And you don't have to do it my way. Absolutely
Yeah.
don't. In fact, don't do it my way.
Don't-
Don't do what I did. It's like, oh my God. Find your own way. Find your own way. And I really recommend Nectar of Devotion to see what all those different ways are, because he really goes through it to the nth degree there. And find those things that you love and do those things that you love. Forget the rest. Just do the things that you love, and then eventually you'll start doing more things, and you'll think, I used to not like to do this, but now I really do like to do this. So just do the things you love and just keep going. Keep going. Don't be discouraged. Call me if you're discouraged. I'll help you with that. So, anything else? No?
Uh, I have a question. Um, there's so many different seasons to our life. Um, when you find yourself like in a new season and you're looking to figure out what going forward looks like, can you share some words on that?
Sure. When I was married, my ex-husband was really big on making lists of things. I do we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. And then he had so many choices he couldn't make a decision about what to do. I'm like, just pick one. Just pick one. He goes, well, how do I decide which one to pick? Doesn't matter. Just pick one. And if you don't like it, just cross it off the list. So that's kind of been my approach, is that I just pick one and do it. And if I don't like it, I stop doing it. But of course, there are other ways you can check in with Krishna and see what he has to say about it. And often that took me a long time to kind of figure out how to do that, how to check in with Krishna and see what he thought. And that can be difficult, because you think, oh, Krishna wants me to do what I want to do, because I think I should be doing this. So yeah, Krishna actually agrees with me that I should be doing that. So that can be dangerous. So when I would ask a question like that, should I be doing this thing, whatever this thing is? Should I buy a new car? I don't know, whatever it is. And there was no answer. I was like, okay, so there's no answer. So I'll just leave it be for a while. I don't want to buy a car, but whatever it is. And just leave it be for a while. And then eventually this answer would come up from inside, from my heart. An answer would come up, and it would come up into my consciousness, and then it would have this kind of resonation. It resonated and was illuminated. It was like, this is the answer. Aha, ha, ha. And then I double check again. Okay, is this the answer? And then it was like, yeah, that's the answer. So it took a long time for me to figure that one out. So I'm telling you this, I'm not charging you any money for this, but that's worked for me. And sometimes I wait months to find out. It's a little bit quicker these days, but when I was younger, it would take months before I would figure actually listen, not not impose my thought on what I thought he should be. I think Krishna should be letting me do this, and imposing it that way, but just letting it happen, letting Krishna speak to me about it. So that has those two things, just jump in and do it, which has caused me a lot of problems, but I don't really care. So I just kind of jump in and do stuff. Or I'll ask if it's serious, I'll ask and wait for an answer, and sometimes months for an answer. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it really does. I feel like you found my real question in my gerbil of words. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's a we're developing a relationship, and we should be able to talk to him and hear him talk to us. One devotee I know, when I was in LA, she was a pujari, and Prabhupada would come up, in the mornings to greet the deities, and he would stand there and look at the deities and offer his dandavats, and then go to the next altar like that. And she told the story a couple of months ago. She said Prabhupada actually used to talk to the deities when he was standing there. We couldn't see him because he was facing the deities. And I was like, so what did he say? What did he say? He would say, so how are you doing? Are they taking good care of you? You're looking very lovely today. He would talk to them like that. And it's like, that's awesome. So that's, we developing this relationship.
Jai, thank you.
Anything else? All right. Should I jump into what I'm going to do here today? So I have 3 things to do, and oh gosh, it's 4:30 already, so we probably won't get through them all. But I thought to look at the Hare Krishna mantra and look at it in terms of vibhakti, the case that the 3 words are in, and then spend a little time trying to write it. It's only 3 words, right? You can manage 3 words, so we can do that. And then I sent out a translation that a friend of mine did of the Dhammadarashtakam, the first verse. And if I don't get to that, I want to say this now. His translation is very bare bones, but he does put in some words that aren't in there. Like he talks about the makara shaped earrings. That's not in there. Makara is not in there. A makara is a crocodile, and it's that shape like the paisley makara. Yes.
Is it a crocodile or okay, I've read shark
Yeah,
or an aquatic, just an aquatic. Yeah.
all three.
Yeah.
All three. I've seen all three also. But I tend to think of it as crocodile and that paisley shape or a shark shape. It's the same. It's the same shape. That kind of a mango. They say mango also, but makara. So he's got things in there that aren't in there. So um, my point about that, and if we have time, we'll look at it, is that when a person does a translation, they will add things that they know about that's not in there. And our acharyas do that because they are privy to the whole lineage, everything coming all the way down. So they will add that information. My caution is that if this is not from an acharya, if it's from Joe down the street in first year Sanskrit, I would worry. I would worry a little bit about that. So the caution is be aware. Be aware of the translation, be aware of what's going on, be aware of the word for word translations. And you can look at them, looking for these things online. It's like a miracle. I can't believe how wonderful looking stuff up on Google is. I mean, it's wonderful. You can find everything there. So, except for is makara a crocodile or a shark, I don't know. It's a mythical beast, so I don't know. So anyway, that's if we don't get to that part, well, that's my thing on that. All right, so let's see, what should I do? Oh, so I have this. I used to teach things online, so I have all these little things like this. So everything in the Maha Mantra is in the 8th case, and there really isn't an 8th case. We just call it the 8th case because it's the one after 7. It's Sambodhana, the vocative. And Sambodhana means addressing or calling to, or calling out for. Okay, Sambodhana. So, Sambodhana. So, let's look at, let me see if I can share. Okay, let's see. It's not that one. It's not that one. Sorry, it's this one. Share that one. Yay. All right. So here, oh no, I go up the front. So all the names in the Maha Mantra are in the vocative case. And you might think, oh, Hare is Hari. So the masculine vocative for Hari, name of Vishnu or Krishna, is Hare. You might think, oh, that's what that is. And lots of people say that. They say that this is what this is. But that may be true, but our acharyas, the people in our lineage, have told us that Radhika Devi is known as Hara. The form of address for Hara, feminine, is Hare. So here's the table for Hara, and you can look all the way through, and down here is the vocative Hare. So Hare, we're calling out, we're addressing, we're wanting to address, talk to, be with Radha. Hare. And then both Krishna and Rama are masculine ending in aha. So they have the same ending. So this table below is the same for both. And Rama in the Maha Mantra means the enjoyer, not the person Rama. That's also given from our acharyas. So Ram Bhaktas may say, oh, this is Rama, but we're not Ram Bhaktas. We're Radha and Krishna Bhaktas. So here's the table for Rama. So here's Ramaha, and here's Rama. So it would be Krishna and Krishna. So there's that. So any questions about that chart? I think you got that as a handout. This is a handout. Okay, so you have that. So
Satya, I don't have a question about the charts, but the one of our beloved teachers said that one of the really special things about Maha Mantra is that it starts with Radha and it ends with Radha, and that you say her name 8 times. Do you have any thoughts on that?
no.
Yeah. That that we have to go through the feminine. We have to go through Radha to get to Krishna, or I mean, it's
Well, there are people who are Krishna bhaktas. There are Krishna who are Radha bhaktas. There are people who Radha Krishna bhaktas, and there are people who are kind of neutral bhaktas. So whatever your proclivity is, whatever your relationship is, you'll see it slightly differently. So I think that that's probably the best way to look at that. Whatever your relationship is, if your relationship is more uh, um, dependent on Radha or more dependent on Krishna, you're dependent on Radha to bring you to Krishna. You're dependent on Radha and Krishna, and you only want the divine couple to be happy. So that's another. And then there are people who are just, Krishna bhaktas, and they just only want they serve Radha because she makes Krishna happy. So, and then there are people who are just kind of neutral, who just want to serve in whatever way. They want to make garlands, they want to sew clothes, they just want to make everybody happy. So, whatever your this is I'm saying your proclivity, but it's your identity. It's your personal identity. Each one of us is born with a particular identity with Krishna, and that's our task, to try and find that. So whatever yours is, the Maha Mantra would mean something different. Hi, Robji. I don't think I saw you sneak in there. Okay, so Haribo. Okay, so we did that whole thing, right? So now, let me see I think I'm just gonna write. So we're gonna write it. How many people know Devanagari? Know how to write it? 1, 2. Okay, cool. All right. All right, cool. All right, so first letter is the H, right? The Ha. So line, you can do this with me. So can you see this all right? Line down. And then it's a kind of a little like this. And I always make the loop like that. And then I do the second part like that. It's kind of a backwards 3. And then a line across the top. All right. So down, around, line across the top. Yeah, we good with this? Line down, make a little hook, continue with that, line across the top. Ha. So this is Ha. Every consonant in Sanskrit comes with a sound. Like our letters are usually E, like B, C, D. Our letters come with an E sound. Theirs all come with an Ah sound. So Ha, Ha. So that's Ha. All right. Okay, the next one is the R. And it's, I don't know. I like loops, so I always make loops. So that's Ra. So down, around, down, line across. Oops, sorry about the glare. Ha. So that's Ha. So if you want to make it, oh, that's Re. if you want to make it, that's Ra, sorry. That's Ra. You want to make it Re, you're going to add this little stem off the top. And somebody in one class I was in said it's like a little flower blossom. So I like that. So just a little thing like that. So that's Re. So this is Ra. And this is Re. Ra and Re. And you can see it's, some people don't make that little, in my regular writing, I make little loops. Some people just go like this. Or like that.
I just wanted to pop in to say I've never heard turning raw into ray, that I've never heard it called like a little flower blossom before, but I love that because I'll think, flower blossom.
I
Was
know, isn't that cute? I was like, oh, I
raised-
like that. And it was this guy who's been teaching it for years. He's like, yeah, it's like a little flower blossom up there. Just make a little cute.
Yeah, and it's going to make me think of ray, like a flower blossom likes rays of sun. Like that'll just be an easy way for me to remember that. So thank you.
You're welcome. Perfect. Okay, so we've got the ha and the re. So let's put them together. So here's the ha. Don't put the line across the top until you've got the whole word. And then here's the ra. Here's the line across, and here's the re. Hare. Hare. Okay, so practice that for a couple of times. I can do this without the glare. So. Hare. And turn the light off, but then it would be dark. So hare. All right, everybody good with ha and re? So just okay, good. Thanks, Leanne. So all the little vowels get added on to the initial letter, the initial consonant. So if you were, so if it weren't vocative, it would be hara, right? We just went over that. It would be hara. And so there's a long A, hara, hara. We just add the A there, hara. So the vowels just get added on to the initial consonant, hara. All right, so now we've got hare. Do a better job on this. Okay, now we've got Krishna. Krishna's a little more complex. So kri, or the ka, is a line down, a little loop, and then an open loop. A loop and an open loop. That's ka. Okay, so practice ka. So ka down, a loop, and an open loop. Ka. Ka. So the re in Krishna, re is a vowel. We don't think of re as a vowel because we are like R. So it's re. So kri, it's a little thing like that, a little hook at the bottom. Kri. Kri. And it's attached. You have to make sure you attach it. Otherwise, it could be ku. We don't want the ku. We want kri. So kri. All right. So down, a loop, open loop, a little hook, and a line. Kri. Kri. Okay. Practice that a gajillion times. Okay. So that's kri. I'm going to keep one of these up here. I'm going to keep one kri up there. So the next letter is sh. Krish, right? So this is the letter sh. That's the letter sh. But it has another letter right after it. So it takes away some of this. It takes away part of it. Takes this part away. Krish takes it away. So that you can add the na. So this is sh. That looks pretty funky. That's the sh, and that's the na. And so we're ditching this, and we're ditching this. Krishna. Krishna says Krishnan. Christian right now. Krishna. We do want that. So we're putting it like that. So when you combine things, it takes away part of the consonant. Takes part of it away. So it looks like that. So Krishna is going to be all of this. It's going to be all of that. Krishna. Krishna. And the way we write that in English with all the marks. This is the vowel r, and here's the sh, and here's the n. Krishna. So those are all of those marks that indicate these. So this is the r, this is the sh, this is the na. Krishna. Krishna. Leslie, am I doing okay so far? You get anything wrong so far? Krishna.
I love it so much.
Okay.
It's so beautiful how you're explaining it and
Okay.
organic. So, Leanne is new to the group, and like Satya said, every consonant inherently has the ah with it. So I can run through the alphabet with you sometime, but like Krishna says in chapter 10 of letters, he is the ah. But in order to make Satya's language is so much more elegant than mine. I say when they smush together, you have to, we lose that in the sh, we lose the ah to make it shna. So I really like how you explain that. Thank you.
Yeah, so when they bump together, part of it goes away. So
It's
they
because
call
they love each other so much.
them conjunct. Conjunct. Anyway,
Satya,
pardon?
Satya, would you please go over the I got the Krish part, but the Shna, the order of making the lines.
Okay. So yeah.
Thank you.
It's kind of funky. It's hard holding it up. It doesn't look, let me write it, put it down. So it looks a little prettier.
Does anyone else think of those semaphore flags when you see the sh with the line through it, it's like a warning.
Yeah, right. There, little prettier there when I set it down. Yeah, so it just, part of that bowl gets eliminated. Okay. And then we've got Rama. And it's a long A in Rama. So we've got, we did the R. So here's the R. and it's a long A, so we do that. Ra. And the ma is ma. And again, a lot of people don't put these little, I mean, my writing is like that in general. Some people write it just like that. That's kind of ugly. Let me do it over. There, they do it like that without the little loopy thing. But to me, that's kind of difficult because they're the ya, the Y looks like this. So for me, this little loopy thing, it helps me because it doesn't look like this at all. So, you know, you have to figure out what works for you. Some people, I don't know, that works for them. So Rama. So Rama. So in a long sound like Rama, the long sound, if you were to time how long you sustained a sound, the sound of this ah would be twice as long as this ah. So you would say Rama, Rama. You wouldn't say Rama or Rama. You'd say Rama. So it's a little, it's like 2 ticks for the long sound and 1 tick for the short sound. So Rama. Okay, so now you have all the words. So I know this woman who, when she was a child, promised that she would write so many Maha mantras a day in her journal. And when I got to know Mrs. Vyas, she was probably in her 70s and still doing that. She had so many journals full of the Maha Mantra that she had been writing every single day for her whole life, because she made this promise that she was going to write so many mantras per day. And she's probably still doing it. I don't know where she is now. She was in LA. I think she's in the Bay Area in California, but I haven't seen her for a long time. But anyway, now you have them all. So now when you see somebody with a Harinam Chatter, you can walk up and I can read that. It says Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So now you can read it. Actually, I did that one time. I was on the street somewhere and some guy was walking by and he had a shirt on and he was not a devotee, didn't have neck beads on. And I'm like, hey, do you know what that says? Do you know what your shirt says? He goes, no, I have no idea. I got it in India. I have no idea what it says. I said, oh, look, it says Hare Krishna. And he was like, really? Wow. So now you can amaze and annoy your friends because now you know that. All right. Any questions about that? So we know now, oh, it's 4:50, we have 10 minutes. So now we know all the words in the Maha Mantra are vocative and Sambodhana. It's Hara, Hara, that short A, long A, Hara, Rama, as in the pleasure seeker, the pleasure, one who is enjoying the pleasure, and Krishna, the all attractive. So now we know. So one time I heard this Vishnu John talking, and he said, this chanting is so easy. It's so simple. It's just like a child crying out for its mother. And that's it. That's our approach. It's so simple. It's so easy. It's that from your heart. Okay. Questions about that? Put aside all of my little erasers and markers and such. All right, so we have 8 minutes to look at the first verse of Damodarashtakam. Let me open that up here. No, not that one. Not that one. Different one. It's this one. Why does that keep coming up? Maybe it wants me to read this. Okay, I'll just read this. This is not what I want to look at. But so we know Damodarashtakam, you know. Do you all know the story of Damodarashtakam? Yes. I hear yeses. I see yeses. Everybody, yes. Yes, we know the story. So there's also, it's not just Yashoda Damodar, there's also a story of Radha and Damodar. I don't know why I can't share that one. Why he keeps moving me to this one. This is the one that I don't want to share, but I'm going to share it. So I'll just read this. Once in the auspicious month of Kartik, Krishna came late for a rendezvous with Radharani in her kunja, in her grove. And in loving anger, Sri Radha looked at Krishna with frowning eyebrows. Using some golden vines, Radha then tied a rope around Krishna's belly to punish him for not showing up as promised. Krishna said he was late because Mother Yashoda kept him home for a festival. Seeing her mistake, Radha quickly untied her beloved Damodar. So it's not just Yashoda Damodar, which is what we celebrate in the temples. We have the picture of Krishna pulling away from Radha as she's trying to tie him up. So we have that, but we also have this story of Radha tying him up also around his belly, around his stomach. So let's see if I can get to the right one this time. Yes. So are you seeing? I'm seeing the same thing. Hang on.
It's the word for word document, right?
It is the word for word. Okay, because I'm not seeing it. All right. So this is my friend Madhukar who translated this. He does the translations for the Gaudiya songbook, which is an amazing songbook. And he works with a team that does all the translations for that songbook. So Namam Ishvaram Satchid Ananda Rupam. So he put the word for word underneath each word, the English underneath each word. So Namam Ishvaram, I offer obeisance to the Supreme Controller. So I wrote down below the word for word, namas, to bow or pay obeisance, and Ishvara can be master, controller, the supreme being. It can be a lot of different things. Normally, we hear it as controller, but you know, your choice, right? It's your choice. It's usually in context. And Satchid Ananda, so a lot of Sunday going on in there, eternity, knowledge and bliss. So Sat is eternal, but also what's true and real. Chit, knowing or knowledge, and Ananda, happiness or bliss. And Rupam, the form, or to he who embodies this Satchid Ananda. So here's the translation that he gave. I worship the Supreme Controller whose form is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. So his form is eternal, but it also embodies that Satchid Ananda. And then the second half of that line, Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. And he's got frolicking on his cheeks, Lasat frolic on his cheeks are the earrings. Gokule in Gokula, splendorously manifest. Brajas, Rajas is sparkling. Splendorously. That's nice. Splendorously. And so he put the whole thing together. Upon his cheeks, makara-shaped earrings are swinging, and he shines most brilliantly in Gokula. So he's added a lot of different words to this, and but they're all words from various descriptions of Krishna. So they're not out of context. He didn't say, Krishna's wearing globe-shaped earrings. There are descriptions of Krishna wearing makara-shaped earrings. And they're frolicking on his cheeks. So swinging on his cheeks, that's fine. But, remember, everything in Gokula is a person. So that earring is probably for real frolicking on his cheek, It's like, woohoo, I'm frolicking on Krishna's cheek. So, but upon his cheeks, makara-shaped earrings are swinging, and he shines most brilliantly in Gokula. And the next line, first part, Yashoda Violukalad Davamanam. So, Yashoda, of Yashoda. Via, fear. Ulukala is the mortar, ulukala. So there's some sandhi there. That long A with the short U is going to be O. So it's biolukala, fear of the mortar. There's no jumping down, but okay, great fear jumping down. But davamana, running away quickly. It's like I'm getting the hell out of Dodge, running away from the grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda. And the very last part of that last line, Param Rishtam Atyantato Drutya Gopya. Param Rishta, seized. Atyanta, strongly. Druta, quick. Gopi, cowherd girl, the Gopi, or Yashoda. So seized from behind, ultimately chased swiftly by the Gopi. Well, he was ultimately caught from behind. So I guess, caught from behind. I don't know. If I were the adult, I think I could probably outrace him and get in front of him. But this is the story, ultimately caught from behind. So my, here it's 5 o'clock on the dot. So my caution about this, as I said before, was when you look at these stories or you look at these songs and you have a question about, well, but Makara is not in there. Look for word somewhere and see if you can find it, and come up with your own understanding of what's going on in the story. Not that you're gonna, publish some, I translated the. It's like I'm never going to translate anything ever and publish it, never. But just be aware of these things. It's incumbent on you as the disciple to know these things, and to use caution in these things. So enjoy the rest of his translation of Dhammadarashtakam. Oh, I wanted to say, so Dhamma means punishment, and Udara is stomach. So Damodara is punishment of his stomach. But that's what it means, because she's tied this rope, or in Radharani's case, a golden vine around his stomach. So punishment around his stomach. And Ashtakam is something that is consisting of 8 parts. So there's lots of Ashtakams, and usually there's a 9th one that gives you some benediction for having read it or repeated it or recited it. So Ashtakam, and Ashta means 8, because I know you know how to count to 10. So that's my thing about Damodar Ashtakam. And we're 2 minutes over, but questions? No?
Just gonna say it's not a question. It's just such a beautiful way to look at all of this. So thank you. Thank you so much. What a treat.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Well, thank you so much. Please accept my obeisances. Obeisances. Vanchakalpatrubhyasya. Kripasindhubhyevacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo. Vaishnavebhyo. Namo Namah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Haribol.
You're welcome. Haribol.
Haribo.
Haribol. Have a great Kartik, you all. And if you want me to come again and regale you with more stories, I'm welcome. I'd be more than happy to come again. Leslie, you want to wrap it up? Thanks, Dana.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
I'm just like, can we have more? Can we have more? And that's, I mean, that's what we get when we're on the transcendental plane, you know, where it's nourishing our hearts. You know, on the material plane, I want more of in a different way. The more that's going to get me into trouble.
Right, right. More
And-
chocolate milk.
Yes, exactly. More coffee. Yeah, I'd love for you to come back and join us. Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing the whiteboard and
Sure.
letting us do a little writing together, and for also sharing your part of your story, because it's really nice to hear that, you know, you were so transfixed so young, and you've been around.
Well, and my story, I think, is different than other people's stories. And I think it's important to know that there is a huge variety of stories of devotees, because we're all different. We're all individuals. And, I did not have any personal association with Srila Prabhupada, and I don't have those kinds of stories. I have other kinds of stories. But yeah, I think it's important to know about the variety of people who are out there, variety of devotees who are out there, and variety of devotees who are practicing devotees. I think that's important to know, that there are lots of different ways that you can practice this bhakti. And don't be afraid to do it.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you so much for